Hi there, Chris Bach here talking to you about this video, using a template website for students who need extra support. You could also do it for all students if you would like to do so. But again, I think there are reasons why you want to have students who can actually create their student website from scratch. It helps them learn the platform, specifically how you add content to a page, how you add more pages to your site. Those are both skills that are really useful, and you can get done in a 50-minute period if you follow the steps in my earlier video on how to have students create a website for the first time. In this case, I really do recommend that you only create template websites and copy those for students who need extra support. Students who, whether they're tier 3 students who really struggle, with participating in class, and maybe they're behind already and you need to just get them started. So maybe a student like that. Additionally, maybe you would want to create student website templates and then copy them for students who are in a self-contained classroom for some reason, but students who just need that extra level of support. So again, I recommend that you just have most students, your typical tier 1 or 2 tier student, create the website. I've made it with probably even thousands, 1,000 or more students, and pretty much everybody is able to follow along if you just take them step by step through the process of setting a website. It's just those last few kiddos that you might want to be thoughtful of and create the website for them. So how would I go about and do that? First, I would follow the steps in my other video to make the template that I wanted. I'd probably just focus on that single grade rather than building out the whole thing for them, because that's overwhelming, I think, to have all of the grades there preloaded. But whatever it is, whatever grade you're in, you would just create a page for ninth grade, for example, and then I would probably do it by the periods and not necessarily put in the title of the classes yet. So if you have a 6-period day, put in 6 periods. If you have a 7-period day, put in 7 periods. An 8-period day, put in 8 periods. Right? Just put in the periods. So it's a ninth grade. It'd have the drop down with the periods underneath. And that's essentially what you'd be doing. You might also create the homepage, which in the beginning, I recommend that you do kind of an about me page. So something that looks somewhat like this, where you have a basic overview. You have some hobbies, some things about them, 2, 3 boxes that they can fill in and add some content. And then after you've created that template yourself, however you want it to look for your students in your school, you'd then be going through and you would want to copy it. So how is it that you can copy the website? There are different ways. If you're on Google Sites, there is an option for you at the top. If you look up here where it says start a new site, you can go to template gallery. And if you click on this, it will allow you to submit a template to your district. And then someone in your district's IT department can approve it, and it can be sitting here. So you can do it that way, where students can click on a template that is approved by your district if you pre-create it and get your district to approve that. Otherwise, if you want something that you can control 100% and isn't you relying on other people putting it into this space, you're going to be doing a couple of different things. So first, there is already from Google a student portfolio template, but it's just one single page. It's not structured with the different periods. So it's more focused on just like maybe a capstone reflection for the end of the school year and or just one single class. So you could modify that if you want, but for my money, it's actually doesn't fit with what the whole purpose of student websites is, sort of that class by class, year by year, and transition from middle school to high school and keeping learning all in one place. So again, I think it's just easier to build your own custom one from the start. Once that's done, though, then you have different options. On your example site, you can come up to right here to the 3 dots, and then you can click Make a Copy. Once you do that, you're able to do a couple of different things. So you can change the file name or the site name. So you would change it to a specific student's name. So that would be like if you're just helping a handful of students do this, right? You could copy it site by site, changing the name to the student. You would then need to make sure that you're sharing this with the student so that they have access to it. So you'd be doing that by going up to the share icon up here and sending it to the student's email address or entering that, and then they'd be able to edit it. One of the things to consider if you do it this way is it's going to be on your drive. So That is fine if you're going to be in a district for a long time, but it's dependent on you staying in that district. So imagine if you have a site that you share with a sixth grader and create on your drive, but then you leave 3 or 4 years later, that site's going to disappear before and be erased from your district before the student actually is done with school, and they would lose all their work. So if you are sharing in this way, I recommend that you actually don't put it on your drive and you'd go to change, and that you'd actually put this on a team drive. Uh, and that way you could save it. It would save on your district server longer after you. Team drives don't get erased. Another way to do this is that you would actually just share. You would share the website with the student right here, and then you could go on their account, or they could go on their account if you showed them, right, once they have access to the editing platform, and then they could click here and make a copy, and then it would save to their drive. So those are two ways you can do it directly from the site, where you can share and make a copy of the site for a student. A couple of other ways to do this is actually from Google Drive. You can actually create a folder on your drive, right, that says student websites or something like that, period one, whatever it is. And then you can have the template of your website in that folder. Believe it or not, all of these websites, any Google site actually exists on your drive that you've created. And so you're able to then move that, just like you can move a Google Doc or slides, to any other folder. So you would just search for the name, or if you just created it, you could go to recent and find it. You'd put it in your student website folder. And then if you want, you can make individual copies by clicking on the 3 dots and going to make a copy. It'll make a new copy. You can change the name to an individual student's name. If you want to remove yourself so that you're actually not the one doing this and it's a student, you can actually share a link by going to share, right, and getting the link. If you go to share and then copy the link, make sure it's the right permission so that a student can access this folder. But you could put a link on your LMS, your learning management system, or on a document or a slide that a student could click on, come to this folder, and your instructions could be for them to make a copy themselves, change the title to their name, right, and then it would be sitting here. Again, it's going to be on your drive. So I recommend that you actually do this on a team drive rather than a folder on your drive. Yes, you could set it up this way and then have students copy it to their drive, but it gets a little tricky. And the student, if they're capable of doing all of that and following all the steps, is probably capable of setting up the website from the start. The way that I would typically do this is the last way. If I'm doing a template website for students, I'm actually going to be doing this from a team drive. So I would go to new. I would create, actually I have to go to shared drives first, and then I would go to new and create a shared drive or a team drive that I would just title something like student websites. I would again make my copy or my template and move it into the student websites team drive. And then I would do that same thing where I would link share it if I wanted, so that students could access it. So I can go here, I can get the link, I can share it so that students can access it that way, or I can invite them to it. But typically what I would actually do if students need support, I'm going to be doing it all myself. So I'd put it on a team drive, so it's going to live past the time that I might leave the district. And then I would actually probably invite other people, like the principal, administrators, other people to the team drive as well, so they can see all of these. And then I would go ahead and just go make a copy. And once the copy is made, then I would go ahead and change the name to that particular student. So Jane Doe, or whatever the student's name is. And then from here, after I do that, I would just go share, and I would make sure to share it with Jane Doe's email address by typing it in right here and making sure that they have access to right here, the draft, that they are able to edit it. And that way it'll be Jane Doe's site. They will have been invited to edit it, all have access to it, and it's all living on a team drive, so it will not be erased when I leave the district. And then also the student isn't erasing that either. It's on that team drive. And I would do that for as many students as I needed to make a copy for. and they would all be living here. So it's a great way for me to have the students who need extra support all in one single team drive or spot. And then I can quickly share it with them. And then what I would do is I would go through the steps with the student, and I would show them and work with them from their account, how to go to Google Sites, how to click on their site and edit it. But I would always work on it from that way. But everything in the back end is all in that one spot. And so I can always click on my account and go into it this way when I'm not working with the students and I want to either help them with something or look at their site. But those are the ways that you can go about sharing a template with students. And again, I recommend that for your tier 1 and even most tier 2 students are going to be successful in setting up the site just by going through the steps in my earlier videos where they're creating multiple pages, for their classes, they're putting them under whatever grade they're in, they're publishing the site for the first time. All of those steps they're able to do. So again, use this sparingly, only when students really do need that extra level of support. All right, thank you for listening.